In the tumultuous annals of Iran, Genghis Khan strides forth, a name echoing through time. Born as Temujin, he wove destiny's threads, uniting Mongol tribes into a formidable force. His sword sang in countless battles, etching his legacy as both warrior and conqueror. Meanwhile, the Khwarazmian dynasty, under Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah, grappled with unrest and intrigue. The clash between Genghis Khan and Sultan Muhammad erupted into a fateful showdown, where Sultan Jalal-ad-Din defied the Mongol tide. The ancient land of Iran has housed great civilizations within itself. Powerful empires also ruled over Iran. Its territory extended to encompass the Middle East and Asia Minor, making it subject to invasions and attacks by foreign peoples. Among them, 4 invasions led to the complete destruction of Iran. The first was the invasion of Alexander the Great, which caused significant damage to Iran. The second was the Arab conquest, where Arab forces conquered Iran. The third was the invasion by Genghis Khan of the Mongols, and the fourth was carried out by Tamerlane. In all these invasions, Iran was utterly devastated. However, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, it returned to its glorious era. The ultimate victors were the Iranians, the people who lived in the Iranian plateau. In this article, we aim to address the story of one of these 4 invasions, the Mongol invasion of Iran, and the life story of Genghis Khan, the Mongol leader. Before the 13th century AD, Central Asia was home to numerous nomadic tribes, including the Tatars, Scythians, Turks, and other tribes. One of these tribes was the Mongols. The Mongols inhabited the easternmost region of Asia and were neighbors to China in the north. The Mongols were not initially a particularly powerful tribe, and it was hard to imagine that they would one day form the largest empire in the world. They were yellow-skinned people who lived alongside other tribes in that region. Some of the tribes in the area included the Tatars, Hungirad, Naimans, Krits, Kaluks, Karakhanid Khanate, Uyghurs, Oirats, and the Kiat tribe. The Kiat tribe was famously known as the Borjigin, and they were entirely Mongol. In fact, Turks and Mongols are distinct and separate ethnic groups, though sometimes they are mistakenly considered the same. All the tribes mentioned were of Turkic origin except for the Borjigin. The reason for the confusion between the two groups is due to their close geographical proximity and linguistic similarities, which led to significant cultural exchange. However, they were entirely separate and not only had no direct connection with each other but also were often in conflict and at war with one another. On the banks of the Inon River in Mongolia, there was a tribe called Borjigin. The leader of this tribe was a brave and warrior man named Yesugei Bagata, whose profession was blacksmithing. As mentioned before, there were many wars among the tribes in that region. In one of these battles, Yesugei Bagata emerged victorious, and on his way back to his tribe, he encountered the Murkit tribe, where he met a woman named Khwarazmian. Their acquaintance eventually led to their marriage, and they had a daughter who was the first daughter of their family. They later had several sons as well. In the year 1162 AD, a son was born to them whom they named Temujin. This Temujin is the same person who will be later known as Genghis Khan, as will be explained later on why this name was chosen as his title. During that era, most names given to children had the root temor, meaning iron, which referred to their ancestors' occupation as blacksmiths. Besides his sister, Genghis Khan had several brothers named Joshi Khazar, Heshan, and Temuj. He also had 2 half-brothers named Belgatiai and Beta, who were the sons of his father's second wife. Before Yesugei Bagata's time, The Mongols were under the rule of the Chinese and were considered Chinese subjects. However, Yesugei Bhagata sought to gain independence for the Mongols by uniting the Mongol tribes and engaging in wars with the Chinese. To achieve this, they first had to move towards the Turkic tribes. The Mongol unity led them to victory in battles against the Turkic tribes, and then they formed a powerful army to continue their efforts. To expand their army, the Mongols integrated defeated Turkic warriors into their own tribe and marched towards their ultimate goal, the Chinese. However, there were still some Turkic tribes, such as the Tatars, who remained hostile towards the Mongols and did not have much affiliation with them. Despite their resistance, it was futile against the mighty army created by Yesugei Bhagata. With his formidable army, Yesugei Bhagata led his forces towards the Chinese in Mongolia and engaged in a decisive battle, resulting in a victorious outcome for the Mongols. The victory drove the Chinese out of Mongolia, ending their subjugation and slavery. During this time, Temujin was still a young child and, along with his brothers, received military training and learned horsemanship along the banks of the Onon and Khalon rivers. During that time, there was a custom among the Mongol tribes where the future spouse of their children was chosen at a very young age. Yesugei Bhagata also followed this tradition for Temujin. He made an agreement with a neighboring tribe called the Khwarazmians to select a girl from their tribe as the future wife of Genghis Khan. The girl's name was bought, and she was chosen at the age of 9. However, the chief of the Khwarazmian tribe imposed a condition on this arrangement. He insisted that Genghis Khan must spend 1 year with their tribe to get to know each other, and both tribes would have a share in raising their future child. Yesugei Bhagata accepted this proposal and sent Temujin to the Khwarazmian tribe at the age of 9. However, instead of 1 year, Temujin spent 3 years with the tribe. During these 3 years, he learned the arts of horsemanship and warfare from the tribe and also managed to learn trading with the Chinese. The Khwarazmian tribe was wealthy, with many traders, and they had significant economic interactions with the Chinese. Temujin was able to establish connections with the Chinese through this tribe and learn the art of trade with them. During this period, the situation did not remain peaceful for long, and at the age of 12, a messenger arrived at the tribe and informed Temujin that his father had passed away. The Tatars were responsible for the death of Yesugei Bhagata. Unable to defeat Yesugei Bhagata's army, the Tatars decided to plot a scheme by organizing a feast. They invited Yesugei Bhagata to this celebration and, with a poisoned drink, caused him to fall ill. He became so sick that even the physicians could not cure him, and he realized he was going to die. Therefore, he ordered a messenger to quickly go to his son and introduce him as his successor. Yesugei Bhagata's reason for this decision was that he knew if he passed away without appointing a successor, unrest would spread, and many people would not uphold the agreements they had made. Temujin rushed back upon hearing the news but arrived too late, as his father had already passed away. Hoalan, Yesugei's wife, tried to prevent any unrest by stating that she would act as the interim leader until Temujin returned. However, her proposal did not gain the approval of the other members, and one by one, each tribe that had entered into an agreement with Yesugei withdrew from the pact. This unfolded just as Yesugei Bhagata had predicted. When Temujin returned, everything had been lost. During his absence, a man named Targutai from the Taichio tribe had been introduced as the new Khan leader. The once powerful tribe of Borjigin now had very little left, just a few horses and servants in the region. With the arrival of winter, their situation became even worse. However, due to the hunting skills of Temujin and his brothers, they could improve their difficult circumstances to some extent by going hunting for food. But Temujin's half-brothers, Bita and Belgiti, who were older than him, constantly stole his prey, causing the family to face food shortages again. Temujin could no longer bear it and got into a heated dispute with his half-brothers, resulting in a violent clash between them. In this altercation, Temujin killed his half-brother Belgiti. When Targutai Khan heard about this, he decided to go after Temujin and arrest him. It served as a good excuse for Targutai, as he was fearful of Temujin's family and worried that they might rebel against him. He knew that they were not supportive of his rise to power, so he avoided direct confrontation with Temujin, fearing it would turn into a bloody war. Targutai Khan set out for the tribe where Temujin lived and spoke to the other members of the tribe, accusing Temujin of disregarding all laws and even killing his own brothers. He argued that such an individual must be arrested and punished, and they should take matters into their own hands to execute him. The other members of the tribe accepted this proposition, stating that if it was the law, they had no objections. With the support of the tribe, Targutai Khan went after Temujin. However, Temujin had already fled and remained in hiding for 6 days, well aware that returning to those areas would lead to his capture. After 6 days, Targutai and his men apprehended Temujin. He was brought to prison with a yoke around his neck and chains tied around his hands and feet, awaiting his trial. Temujin's father had so many friends, and during his captivity, one of his father's friends assisted Genghis Khan in escaping captivity and returning to his family. Meanwhile, Targutai Khan had no intention of launching a military campaign against the Borjigin tribe, so he waited patiently and took no action in that regard. After returning to his family, Temujin saw that they were still living in poverty and had only 9 horses as their possession. He knew he had to do something to lift his family out of this situation. Therefore, he went to the tribe of his future wife, a powerful and wealthy tribe with whom he had a good relationship. The father of his future wife decided to help them and make them strong again, gaining support from other regions to recognize Temujin as a skilled warrior and leader. By establishing good relations with the separated Mongol tribes, they formed a united force, and many recognized Temujin as a powerful leader. Eventually, a strong and wealthy military force was formed through these efforts. However, some tribes still could not accept Temujin as their leader, partly due to his young age. Furthermore, Genghis Khan was able to formalize his marriage with Bort, and the two families were officially connected. Now Genghis Khan had gained some power. The Mongol tribes were united, but this unity was not yet present among the Turkic tribes, and they could not accept it. It took 2 years for the Mongols and Turks to form an alliance. However, when this alliance was formed, they faced a new enemy, the Tatars. The Turks and Mongols launched an attack against the Tatars, and a fierce war ensued. They managed to defeat the Tatars, and Genghis Khan avenged his father's death at their hands. Some time later, one of Genghis Khan's friends named Jamika rebelled against him. However, Genghis Khan defeated Jamika and had him killed. Furthermore, Genghis Khan managed to restore power to the Borjigin tribe, and the Mongols regained their strength. For this reason, he decided to hold a grand celebration and invited all the tribes to join. During the feast, there was a magician named Tibetan Curie, about whom many stories were told. According to these tales, Tibetan Curie could ascend to the skies, communicate with gods, walk on water, and his body was so hot that when he faced cold, the snow and ice would turn into water in his hands. He was also known as a prophet, capable of foreseeing the future. Among the guests at the celebration, Tibetan Curie approached Temujin and narrated a story to him. He said, "O Temujin, a red man on horseback appeared to me and told me to go and inform the son of Yesugei that from now on, he should no longer be called Temujin. Instead, he should be addressed as Genghis Khan, the Lord of Lords. Upon hearing these words, Temujin stood up from his place and addressed everyone at the feast, saying that from that moment on, they should call him Genghis Khan. And so, from that day forward, he became known as Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was able to unite all the Turkic and Mongol tribes under his banner and became the ultimate power in the region. However, the Naimans were the only tribe that remained rebellious. Members of this tribe were powerful and of Turkic origin. Genghis Khan launched an attack on the Naimans and inflicted a severe defeat on them, bringing them under his rule. Between the years 1215 and 1218 AD, Genghis Khan conducted 3 military campaigns towards northern China, with the goal of expanding his territory in East Asia. These campaigns resulted in a series of wars known as the 14-year campaigns. During these battles, Genghis Khan acquired extensive military knowledge and expertise. By the end of these wars, he had become a highly skilled conqueror, capable of capturing various countries. He learned the arts of war and would incorporate defeated soldiers from enemy armies into his own forces after each victory, gradually expanding his army. In these campaigns, he also acquired a vast array of military equipment from the defeated armies. Following a series of successive victories in the 14-year campaigns, Genghis Khan, now more powerful than ever, decided to move towards Iran, Russia, and Eastern Europe. The Mongol Khans, or Mongol rulers, practiced polygamy and had multiple wives. Genghis Khan, too, had several wives. He had 4 children named Joshi, Chagatai, Ogedei, and Tolwi with his first wife, Ort. Genghis Khan's favorite wife was Kulon Khatun, who belonged to the Murkit tribe, a tribe that often clashed with the Mongols. From this wife, he had a son named Kulkan. The religion of the Mongols was mostly Tibetan Buddhism or shamanism. However, there were also a few of them who followed Christianity. Shamanism is a belief system in Central Asia that combines spirit worship, polytheism, monotheism, and ancestor worship. This tradition is more commonly observed among the Turks, Magyars, and Mongols. Shamanism, also known as Tengrism, is one of the ancient religions in the world and was practiced among various indigenous groups, including Eskimos and Native Americans, who often used its teachings for medical and healing purposes. One of the beliefs in this faith is that stones, valleys, mountains, seas, and other natural elements are all living beings. If an individual wants to continue their life and achieve their goals, they must make a pact with all these living beings and seek their support. Genghis Khan, the Mongol leader, also believed in this tradition. Genghis Khan was an illiterate person and could not read or write. However, when he conquered China, he employed one of the Chinese emperors as his chief advisor. He chose a man named Yelu Chutsai, who was highly knowledgeable and well-versed in science and literature and involved him in most of his affairs. With a series of triumphant victories, Genghis Khan expanded his empire, and he managed to bring the southern regions of Russia under his control as well. At that time, the Khwarazmian, Anushtigin, dynasty ruled over the throne of Iran. Qutbuddin, the son of Ala al-Din Khwarazmshah and Turkan Khatun, ascended the throne after his father's death, and Ala al-Din took the name Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah. The Khwarazmians were of Iranian Turkic descent and followed the Sunni faith. Their origins are traced back to Khiva, located near Tashkent in present-day Uzbekistan. Khiva means land of the sun in the local language. The founder of the Khwarazmian dynasty was a man named Anushtigin, who was appointed as the ruler of Khwarazm by Malik Shah Saluk in 1077 AD. He was, in fact, a vassal of the Saluks, but when the Seljuk Empire fell, they established an independent kingdom, marking the beginning of the Khwarazmian rule in Iran. Anushtigin belonged to the Bigdili tribe, with origins tracing back to the Oghuz Turks. In the early years of Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah's reign, there was relative peace, and everything seemed stable. However, after a while, unrest and turmoil began to arise. During that era, the Abbasid caliphs ruled in Arabia, and the name of the reigning Abbasid caliph at that time was Abu al-Abbas al-Nasir din Allah. He was the 34th and final Abbasid caliph, but also a very powerful individual. Many cities in Iran, especially Save and Hamadan, frequently changed hands between the Abbasids and the Khwarazmshahs, and they engaged in numerous battles and conflicts over these regions. For this reason, Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah once formed a powerful army with the intention of completely overthrowing the Abbasids and marched towards them. Everything seemed ready for the victory of the Khwarazmshahs, but when they reached Hamadan, they were trapped in the Asadabad Pass due to heavy snow and blizzards, resulting in the loss of a significant number of Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah's companions. As a result, this plan of the king faced defeat and he could not achieve his objective. The clashes between these two sides continued, and for a period of time, certain regions were under Abbasid control while others were under the dominion of the Khwarazmshahs. Amidst these conflicts, a man named Usman Khan from Samarkand raised the banner of rebellion and declared Samarkand an independent region. Usman Khan was a familiar figure to Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah, as he was married to the Sultan's daughter. When the news reached Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah, he was in Konyaurgench, and he decided to go to Samarkand and teach his son-in-law and the Karakatai nobles a lesson. He went there, managed to capture the region, and also arrested Usman Khan. Usman Khan's wife, the daughter of Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah, requested her father to punish Usman Khan for his actions. And as a result, Usman Khan was executed by Sultan Muhammad, and the entire Karakatai dynasty, which had ruled in Samarkand for a long time, came to an end, and Samarkand came under the control of Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah. To showcase his power, Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah chose Samarkand as the new capital of Iran. However, the uprisings were not entirely quelled and continued to persist throughout Iran. Turkan Khatun, the mother of Sultan Muhammad, was from the Kipchak Turks. She was an extremely intelligent and astute woman who directly intervened in the political affairs of Iran. She provided numerous theories and insights into various matters. Throughout the territories under the rule of the Khwarazmshah dynasty, Turkan Khatun had spies who provided her with extensive information. It was reported to Turkan Khatun that a Sufi had arrived in Konyaurgench and was going from house to house, market to market, spreading false rumors that Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah had turned away from Islam and embraced the Zoroastrian faith. During that time, this faith was considered heresy, and the Sufi claimed that the king had become an infidel. By doing this, the Sufi managed to gather a group of people around him and incite unrest in Konyaurgench. Upon hearing this news, Turkan Khatun sent a letter to her son in Samarkand, warning him about the Sufi and the disturbance he was causing. The Sufi was actually an agent sent by the Abbasid Caliphate with the aim of creating turmoil in Iran. When Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah learned of this plot, he ordered the Sufi to be arrested. Following the advice of his mother, the Sufi's tongue was cut off, and he was subsequently executed. During the reign of Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah, there was still some unrest and rebellions in certain regions, including among the tribes in Karakorum, present-day Kyrgyzstan. To address this, Sultan Muhammad organized a military expedition and set off towards Karakorum. The people living in that region were from the Murkid tribe, the same tribe to which Kulan Khatun, the wife of Genghis Khan, belonged. As they marched through the area, they were astonished to find a hill covered with the corpses of soldiers. The number of bodies was so great that it turned the entire plain red. Among the corpses, they discovered a soldier who was still alive and capable of speaking. Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah asked the soldier about the tragedy that had befallen these people and why they ended up in such a state. The soldier explained that they had come for war, but a tribe had massacred them all without any actual battle taking place. He revealed that only 2 individuals had survived, the king of the Merkits and his son, who had managed to escape the carnage. Kulan Khatun had betrayed her own people and entered into an alliance with Genghis Khan. This revelation left Sultan Muhammad uncertain about the formidable adversaries he was about to face, as he had little information about this tribe responsible for the massacre. The encounter with the Merkits posed a daunting challenge, as they were known to be fierce and bloodthirsty warriors. However, he had limited information about the people he was going to confront. This news also reached Genghis Khan, and he learned that a new tribe had emerged, intending to attack the Mongols. As mentioned before, Genghis Khan had a chief advisor as well. The chief advisor suggested to him that they should send a diplomat, Temujin, to Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah to inquire why he intended to move against them and why he wanted to engage in war with the Mongols. The Mongol envoy was sent to Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah, who read the letter to him. Sultan Muhammad responded firmly, saying, "I want to wipe you off the face of the earth." Upon hearing Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah's response, the Mongol envoy returned to their position with dry lips, and quickly went back to the Mongol forces to relay the news. Sultan Muhammad promptly readied his army, dividing them into 3 divisions. He entrusted the command of one of these divisions to Sultan Jalal-ud-Din Khwarazmshah, the eldest and not so beloved son of Sultan Muhammad. The reason for Sultan Jalal-ud-Din's lack of favor was due to Turkan Khatun's belief that he intended to commit a massacre against the Karakhanids and form an army of Turkmen to move against them. Sultan Muhammad listened to her advice. Thus, he chose Sultan Uzlak Shah, the younger brother of Sultan Jalal-ud-Din, as his successor to the throne. Genghis Khan also chose Joshi Khan as his commander, and the 2 forces engaged in battle, but the clashes only resulted in a massacre for both armies. Sultan Jalal-ud-Din, a fearless and courageous individual, was determined to bring the Mongols to their knees. He couldn't tolerate the sight of Mongol forces in those areas. Thus, one night with a powerful force, he launched an attack on Mongols and inflicted devastating blows upon them, emerging victorious in this encounter. The Mongols were forced to retreat, losing control of the region, which fell under the rule of Sultan Jalal-ud-Din. After the victory in this battle and the occupation of the region, Sultan Jalal-ud-Din returned to Samarkand. News of their defeat and loss of the territory also reached Genghis Khan, and he realized that he had limited information about the Khwarazmians and didn't know the extent of their military strength. Therefore, he made another decision. He decided to send a large caravan filled with precious gifts to Bukhara as a gesture of goodwill towards Sultan Muhammad. With this action, he intended to gather more information about the situation and conditions of the Khwarazmian kingdom. He knew that obtaining information from the regions under their rule was the most powerful weapon he could have against the Khwarazmians. A Muslim man from Konurgench was responsible for leading this caravan. The reason for choosing this individual by Genghis Khan was that he knew sending a Muslim man would facilitate better communication with the locals and enable more effective surveillance of the region. The initial destination of this caravan was the city of Bukhara. The members of the caravan were supposed to observe Bukhara thoroughly and gather valuable information about the area. During this time, Genghis Khan had managed to conquer East Asia entirely and now had his sights set on conquering West Asia. On the other hand, a new enemy named Sultan Muhammad Khwarazmshah had emerged. Genghis Khan no longer wanted to face a new defeat like the previous war. He wanted to move towards Khwarazm with comprehensive information this time. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like it, and share it with your friends. Do not hesitate to provide your view regarding this video by putting your comments below. Your comments would help us to improve our work, and also, they help us to take your views into account for the future topics that we select. Furthermore, you can subscribe to our channel to become aware of our new videos.